Hi everyone. You ever met someone or known someone who's extremely clingy, really needy, can't do things for themselves, ask for help all the time, wonder if they actually can do it for themselves, but they're just asking you to. They won't leave you no matter what you say, no matter what you do. This looks so much like borderline personality disorder, and I make these videos for that reason. You guys asked me to make videos about borderlines and narcissists, people that abuse, manipulate, exploit. This one is so much like it. You're going to just say, well, what's the difference, David? I'm going to tell you. And quite a few of you, a good percentage of you, have things like CPTSD. You're codependent, which is just behaviors. You have codependent behaviors. And a lot of you think that you might have dependent personality disorder, and you don't. These things are situational, not pervasive patterns throughout your whole life. So, dependent personality disorder is in the cluster C. Cluster C is titled as labeled as worried, anxious. There's three disorders, and they all worry. If you look at all three, which I just made the other two, this is the third one. Go watch the other two if you're interested in knowing more about this cluster C. If you look at the three, they all worry. The avoidant worries about intimacy, rejection. The obsessive compulsive, which is another one in the cluster C, they worry about losing control, making mistakes, imperfection. Dependent worries about being alone and caring for themselves. So much like borderline, isn't it? And yet it's in a totally different cluster. So, definition, when you're getting into personality disorders, it's always pervasive patterns. That means in all areas of their life. This isn't just something that they're just, have problems with at work. This is all their relationships, their personal life, day-to-day activities, their work life, everything. And they're rigid. They don't bend, they break. That's why typically people with personality disorders may never get treated, may never change, may never get better. Doesn't mean they can't. So, it's a mental health condition that involves an excessive need to be taken care of. Pervasive pattern and rigid need to be taken care of. Fear of abandonment. Yeah, amazing, huh? They cling, they beg, they collapse. They're passive, submissive. They hand over their power. They give agency up to you. Control and power is agency. Abuse tolerance is high because losing you feels worse than being mistreated. Losing you feels worse than you hitting me. They don't rage or melt down. They plead. Please, 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 no. They don't explode. They implode. So, you're starting to see some differences with borderline. Borderline versus dependent personality disorders. Control. Control. Personality disorders are all about control. They lack control over their behaviors. They try to control situations, maybe perceptions, relationships, maybe you. So the borderline tries to have complete agency over you. They want power, they want control. But the dependent gives you full agency, full parentification, way more than borderline. You see that? Because you guys have already learned that a lot of you have been parentified by other adults and force you to take care of them, responsible for them, accountable for everything they do. Crazy. It's hard enough for a 12-year-old to be totally accountable and responsible for a 12-year-old. Imagine doing that for a 34-year-old who's unstable, crazy, has no morals. Uh, so they have fear of abandonment, both. But the borderline takes extreme measures to avoid abandonment. And we know what some of those are, right? I'll cheat on you. I'll take my own life. I'll get you fired. I'll call your parents. The dependent begs, pleads. Big difference, isn't it? The borderline will even perceive abandonment when you weren't leaving them. I make this joke a lot. You guys laugh, but I'm dead serious. I've dated someone who thought I was going to leave him because I got $1 raise. That's it. You're out of here. You don't need me anymore. It's like, well, damn. So you what? That's $8 a day. You cost me a lot more than that. Calm, explosive. See that? The borderline has got the anger, uncontrollable anger that doesn't even match what happened. Yeah? Rage, meltdowns. The borderline, the cluster B, is typically more exploitative, manipulative, abusive, just more. Maybe that's the difference you guys looking at. Say, yeah, God, my ex sounds just like dependent, but they cheated on me, they lied to me, they betrayed me, they tried to ruin my life, tried to kill me, not sounding too much like dependent, is it? But I know a lot of you guys have a girlfriend or boyfriend, and you believe they're borderline, and they're none of those things I just read about borderline, and they're everything I just read about dependent. They don't abuse you. The pathology. They typically come from neglect and abuse and trauma. I think that's obvious. Parents typically were either controlling, did not teach, or may have done things for them. You're too stupid, get out of the way, I'll do it. You can't do that. You're unable, you don't know how. You'll just mess it up. Learned helplessness. Learned helplessness. Something many of you have that are watching this video now. And you haven't been diagnosed with any, maybe CPTSD. You have learned helplessness. You ask for help for things you can probably figure out on your own, or something you've asked a million times somebody for. And they're like, I don't know what else to tell you. I've told you how, I've told you how, and I told you how. Are you just trying to get me to tell you different ways to do the same thing? And then you're just going to pick one? No. You just say, I don't know how, and you get people to do it for you. You want people to take care of you. Screw independence, it's scary. Screw trying, I always fail. I always make mistakes. I can't survive without someone stronger than me. I've lived on my own since I was a kid. I left my family at 17 and I rented out. I remember I had a home. I was really young. I had a home and I had to rent out a room. And I didn't know someone that could live in there. So I had to get a stranger, and oh my God, that was fun. Oh my God. I had this guy come live with me. Great, nice guy, nice dress, drove a Lexus, like that matters. Young, he's in his like mid-20s, late 20s. And he literally couldn't do a thing. Doesn't know how to use a garbage disposal, doesn't know how to use a coffee machine, doesn't know how to use the dishwasher, doesn't know how to use the washing machine and the dryer. Just like, dude, I'm going to literally teach you everything. And he just moved from his mother's house. So, well, you lived with your mom till you're 28, 29. You can't do a goddamn thing for yourself. That's great. And it's not figure it out. It's, I don't know how. How do you do this? I don't know how. How do you do this? These are things I figured out when I was 5, 6. My parents neglected me too, so I just figured it out. But I didn't have parents shaming me and you know, to even try. Neglect does all kinds of different things. We all react differently. When a child tries to assert themselves and gets shut down, shamed, punished until they stop trying. When attempts at independence are met with failure and rejection, they will internalize this. Children will internalize this and say, why try? If I can get it done for me and it's so awful to try and fail, and I have it in here that I just can't do anything for myself, I'm not worthy of it, why try? Their brains freeze instead of problem solving. So, to wrap it up, the dependent is a product of neglect and trauma. The parents crippled their independence one way or another. They believe they can't survive alone. Massive fear of being alone. Passivity, clinginess, and giving up agency. A very dependent human being on the rest of us. And this can be very confusing. We use compassion, empathy, sympathy, and we're all here for each other, right? But when someone takes away your own agency, when your focus, your attention is taken off of your life, and they cannot reciprocate what you do in this relationship, it's over. It's over, and that's exploitation. And you will lose a sense of who you are, and psychologically it will damage you, and it could forever. If you find yourself in a relationship like this, step outside, tell someone, ask for help. If you think that you may have something like this, do not diagnose yourself. Go find out. If you could, I appreciate it. As always, share your experiences down below. Ask me questions. I appreciate your thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Thank you guys very, very much. If you want coaching, you can find me at daviddemars.com. Be sure to love yourself first, guys. Thanks. Bye.